The Nicaraguan government announced the Organization of American States' expulsion from its territory and confirmed its withdrawal from the organization. In France, current President Emmanuel Macron obtained the re-election with the 58.5% of the votes. In Sudan, about 160 people have been killed in recent armed clashes in the Darfur region. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Nicaraguan government announced the Organization of American States' expulsion from its territory and confirmed its withdrawal from the organization. Foreign Minister Denis Moncada said they are withdrawing from all OAS dependencies and the credentials of their representatives to the organization. The Nicaraguan diplomat pointed out that the OAS violates the rights and independence of the peoples of the Americas through interference, interventionism, and invasions promoted by the government of the United States. In this sense, Moncada emphasized that Nicaragua is a free, sovereign, and independent state. In Mexico, thousands of feminists protested Sunday in the capital to demand justice for the alleged femicide of Devani Escobar, an 18-year-old girl found dead in the north of the country. Some groups marched from the El Bosque de Chapultepec to Ángel de la Independencia, where they placed tokens for women who are still missing. Hundreds more protested from the Monument to the Revolution, while dozens more protested from the anti-monumental against gender violence in the Juarez Hemicircle at the Central Avenue. The outrage has been growing since last Thursday when authorities found Devani's body in the cisterns of a motel in the northern state of Nuevo León, near where the young woman disappeared on April 9th after getting out of a cab whose driver allegedly harassed her.
To be honest, it happens very often because regardless of the Bani, we have had several feminicides in 1 month, and well, that is what we fight for. That is why we come here every time these things happen, and also on dates like March 8th. We come here to be heard and to make these things stop.
Representatives of more than 50 nations will participate as of Monday in the Bio Havana 2022 International Congress, an activity that will address issues involving the medical technology. The event, which will begin virtual and will go on in person this Monday, April 25th, will take place at the Convention Center and will last until April 29th. Participants will discuss 10 topics, among them the pandemics, agriculture, biotechnology, brain diseases, and cancer immunotherapy. Within this framework, they will present definite results of research on the impact of Cuban vaccines and drugs in the control of COVID-19. They will also present the results of the clinical study being carried out in the United States with the Cuban vaccine Symavax, EGF, against lung cancer. This Sunday, a new massacre was reported in Colombia that ended the lives of 5 people. This is the 36th massacre so far this year. On this occasion, the event took place in the city of Cartago, located in the department of Valle del Cauca. The Institute of Studies for Development and Peace informed that 2 of the victims were women, and of the 3 men, 2 were identified as Jose Germán Chica, 49 years old, and his uncle Jose Fernando Chica, 56-year-old. In addition, 2 minors were also wounded. Meanwhile, according to authorities, armed men arrived at the home of the victims in the neighborhood of La Paz and then fired at all the people who were in the place. We stay in Colombia as 1 person died after clashes during a football match in the city of Santa Marta. These violent events occurred on Saturday during the match between Union Magdalena and Junior de Barranquilla as part of the 17th date of the Colombian Football League. The match had to be suspended in the 72nd minute of the second half when a fight broke out in the stands, resulting in 1 death, several injuries, and 3 arrests. One of the injured, a fan of Union Magdalena identified as Brandon Gustavo Somoza, died in a clinic in the city of Santa Marta, where he was taken after being stabbed several times during the riots, according to local police. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro announced that the government of Colombia is advancing plans to generate violence in the country. In his speech at the second plenary session at the 5th Congress of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro said that the National Intelligence Services are gathering information and investigating the destabilizing plans organized against the nation from Bogotá. Among the plans denounced by President Maduro highlighted the attack against the national electric system, the freshwater service, and the selective assassination of members of state security forces. He also warned that groups of the extreme right are trying to stop the process of recovery and economic growth of the country.
Ivan Duque has activated plans with criminals and gangs of criminals by states, and is infiltrating groups of mafia criminals through the borders who come to attack, first of all, the police and the militaries, and to attack the public force. And so I denounce it. We are following those plans with the strategic and police intelligence, and popular intelligence as well. Their objective is to attack and kill policemen, as Pablo Escobar Gaviria and the mafia did. First, kill policemen so that the police lose their morale and their effectiveness, and then attack police headquarters, military barracks. Watch out, governors. I'm not talking for the sake of talking. It is a plan of the narco-trafficking mafia that rules Colombia. So I hope that the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, our governors, city mayors, security ministers, step it up to neutralize this plan of violence that comes from the narco government of Colombia. Understood? I'm denouncing publicly these plans.
Thousands of demonstrators, mainly rural workers, march and drive tractors down the streets of Buenos Aires, protesting against the fiscal pressure on the agricultural sector as the country witnesses a sharp rise in fuel and fertilizer prices. The demonstrators drove in cars and vans joined by dozens of tractors along Avenida del Libertador to the Casa Rosada, the Argentine government house, where they read a proclamation. According to a study by FADA, foundation of the sector itself, 64.9% of the income of agricultural producers go to taxes, most of it from export revenues. The demonstrators also showed their fear of the recent plan announced by the Minister of Economy, Martin Guzman, who opened door to a tax on those companies that have a profit of more than $8.5 million US.
Everything is very difficult. It is very difficult to maintain the fields. Over a few months, they increased the price of fuel. The spare parts cannot be maintained. Working in the field is quite difficult.
We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. In France, current President Emmanuel Macron obtained the re-election. According to the Ministry of the Interior, Emmanuel Macron won the elections with 58.5% of the votes, while his opponent Marine Le Pen obtained 41.5%. Far-right candidate Le Pen admits defeat. Despite his victory, Macron must wait for the legislative elections, which will be crucial to implement his government's policies. He will face major challenges such as the economic and social situation within the country and his position regarding the conflict in Ukraine. Also, the sanctions imposed by the United States and its European allies on Russia. Macron is the fourth French president to win re-election after Charles de Gaulle, François Mitterrand, and Jacques Chirac. The turnout in this second round was just under 72%, according to the Interior Ministry, slightly higher than at the same time for the first round 2 weeks ago. However, the abstention rate in the French presidential election was 28%, the highest in the last 20 years. French police fired tear gas at demonstrations protesting the results of Sunday's presidential runoff elections. Following the outbreak of intense protests in several French cities after the announcement of the results of the presidential elections, hundreds of officers were deployed and they charged at demonstrations to place in the Place de la République in Paris and surrounding areas, where security forces tried to disperse protesters with tear gas and by attacking the demonstrators. Similar events took place in other cities like Rennes, Nantes, and Toulouse. The Russian Defense Ministry provided on Monday an update on the current special military operation in Ukraine to protect the people of Donbas.
High-precision long-range weapons on the northern outskirts of the city of Kremenchuk destroy fuel production facilities of an oil refinery, as well as storage facilities with oil products, which were to be provided for military equipment to a group of Ukrainian troops. During the night, high-precision air-launched missiles hit 6 Ukrainian military facilities, including 3 strongholds and places of concentration of manpower and military equipment, as well as 3 ammunition depots in Barvinkove and Novodimitrievka districts of the Kharkiv region.
Russia began mass producing a new anti-aircraft missile system, the S-500 Prometei. The announcement was made Tuesday by Jan Novikov, General Director of the Alliance Anti-Consortium, which designed and manufactured a new weapon. In an interview with a Russian magazine, Novikov said the S-500 significantly surpasses previous anti-aircraft systems, the S-400 and its U.S. rival Patriot Advanced Capabilities 3, and that it will be the cornerstone of Russia's aerospace defense. The new missile is capable of intercepting not only ballistic missiles, but also aerodynamic targets like aircraft and helicopters. Cruise missiles and sonic missiles were. According to official sources, the impact radius of the S-500 is about 600 kilometers, and it will be able to simultaneously detect and shoot down to up to 10 supersonic ballistic missiles flying at speeds of up to 7 kilometers per second. The international community of the Red Cross expressed its readiness to facilitate the humanitarian evacuation of the Ukrainian city of Mariupol. The organization stressed the need to ensure the voluntary and safe departure of thousands of civilians and hundreds of wounded from the city, including the territory of Azovstal plant. In this regard, they reiterate their readiness to assist the parties to the conflict to agree on practical and feasible arrangements for the evacuation of those in need. Likewise, they informed that the Red Cross teams are ready to facilitate operations once such agreement is reached and security guarantees are established. In China, there is an active COVID-19 flare-up in Beijing as death toll rises nationwide. The Chinese National Health Commission said in its daily report on Monday that on Sunday they had 2,666 new confirmed cases and 17,528 asymptomatic locally transmitted carriers. Of the new local cases, 2,472 were reported in Shanghai, 79 in Jilin, 26 in Heilongjiang and Jiangxi, 13 in Zhejiang, 12 in Hunan, and 9 in the Inland Mongolian Autonomous Region. Meanwhile, 14 new cases were reported in the capital, Beijing, and local authorities are conducting mass testing to prevent the spread of the outbreak. According to the report, there were 51 fatalities on Sunday, all of them of infected patients in Shanghai. The United States continues to be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to data provided by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, an average of 44,300 new cases of coronavirus are reported daily nationwide. Meanwhile, the weekly average of death due to COVID-19 related causes averages 311. According to the same report, there are some 1,642 hospitalizations registered per day. We have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. In Sudan, about 160 people are reported to have been killed in recent armed clashes in the Darfur region. The Refugees and Displaced Persons General Coordinator spokesman in Darfur, Adam Regal, said violence erupted Friday in Queen, some 80 kilometers from Geneina, capital of West Darfur, after two Arab tribesmen herders were killed by armed men from the African Masali tribe. The clashes flared up again on Sunday, leaving at least 98 people wounded. Regal accused pro-government militias of being behind the attack and asked the United Nations Security Council and the African Union to take measures to protect displaced civilians, and he urged the International Criminal Court to closely analyze the violent situation and the deepening of the crisis. Nigerian emergency services reported the death toll from a late Friday explosion at an illegal refinery in the southern part of the country rose from 80 to 110 on Sunday, as more people have died from injuries. According to a police report, the blast occurred at an illegal site between the southern oil states of Rivers and Imo, and dozens of people with severe burns are still in the hospitals. The area around the explosion site is littered with corpses, burned out vehicles, and jerrycans used to scoop up stolen crude and products. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday described the incident as a catastrophe and a national disaster, and vowed to catch the sponsors of the illegal refinery and have them brought to justice. The Democratic Republic of the Congo declared an outbreak of Ebola virus after another confirmed case was reported in Bandaka, a city in northwestern Equator province. The patient, a 31-year-old man, began showing symptoms on April 5th, 2 weeks later. The patient was admitted to an Ebola treatment center for intensive care, but he died later that day. Investigations to determine the source of the outbreaks are ongoing. This is the sixth outbreak since 2018. Previous outbreaks in Equator province were in 2020 and 2018, with 130 and 54 recorded cases respectively. SOS Mediterranean has reported on Sunday the rescue of 70 people in an operation by the ocean Viking ship in waters near Tripoli, the capital of Libya in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. As detailed by the NGO through social networks, the rescue was carried out when the inflatable boat lost pressure and needed help near Libyan waters. According to the report, all those in need of help have been safely evacuated, including 17 unaccompanied minors. Meanwhile, earlier on Sunday, 17 migrants were found dead after 4 boats sank off the coast of Tunisia. And in the early hours of Monday morning, Israeli occupation forces shelled southern Lebanon after launching a rocket into the occupied territories. According to Israeli media, the occupation forces said Monday that their forces fired shells at Lebanon after a rocket from unknown source was fired at the occupied territories overnight. On its part, the UN interim force in Lebanon issued a statement urging calm and restraint from both sides. After several conflicts, Israel and Lebanon remain technically in a state of war, and the UN interim force remains deployed in the southern Lebanon as a buffer between the two countries. The Lebanese military recovered the bodies of 5 migrants whose boat carrying nearly 60 people capsized the night before in the Mediterranean, raising the death toll to 6, state media reported. The national news agency said the 5 bodies were found near a small island off the coast of the northern city of Tripoli. Several survivors told local TV stations that the Lebanese Navy is to blame for the incidents. They said a military ship rammed their migrant boat twice, damaging it, in an effort to force it to return to the coast. Meanwhile, the commander of the Navy said the migrant boat was all and only capable of carrying 6 people. No precautionary measures were taken on the boat and no one was wearing life vests. Search operations are still ongoing for the missing.
The captain of the boat decided to make maneuvers to escape from the Coast Guard and the other boats in a way that led to a collision between the large boat of the Coast Guard and the small boat. The victims were those who survived were 45, and yesterday there was 1 body of a child. And today we have 5 confirmed bodies until now. God willing, there will not be more victims. There might be some missing. We are looking for them. Hopefully someone will tell us who they are.
In Ecuador, a boat carrying 2,000 gallons of diesel sank this Saturday in the Galapagos Island, and a contingency plan was activated in case of a possible environmental emergency. The privately owned diving boat Albatross was wrecked near Santa Cruz Island, Puerto Ayora. The Ecuadorian Ministry of the Environment said there is a superficial fuel leak in several points of the bay. It also indicated that immediate actions were taken to reduce the impact of the incident on the marine ecosystems near the Galapagos Islands, declared a natural heritage site of humanity. We have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.